Hello, and welcome to the Single Again After 50 Virtual Summit, where we're empowering women to go from asking, who am I and what do I want, to confidently uncovering her true self and moving into her best life ever by overcoming limiting beliefs, learning new skills, and developing confidence. I'm your host, Kelli Nelson, and today we're talking to Lynn Toomey. Lynn is the founder of HER Retirement, a financial education planning and coaching company with a proprietary technology-based platform that helps women prepare for, transition into, and live a better retirement. Lynn has 30 years experience in launching high-tech and financial services companies. As a financial advisor, personal financial educator, and financial wellness coach, writer, speaker, and fintech creator, Lynn is passionate about her mission to help women know more and have more now and in retirement. So welcome, Lynn.
Hey there, Kelli. Thanks for having me.
Oh, I am so excited to have you today. To be able to talk with you, I wish I'd have known you 10 years ago. But
if I had a dollar for every woman that tells me that, I would just retire.
I can imagine. But as you know, my inspiration for this summit was based on my own personal experience when I found myself single again just 6 months before my 50th birthday. And I suddenly realized that I had absolutely no idea who I was, what I wanted, or what the future held for me. Now, in my case, I had been pretty much a stay-at-home mom the whole time. However, I did have, my ex-husband had a construction company. I worked with him on that, doing the books and things. And I also had dabbled in a network marketing business that I actually built up pretty well. It was in a health, realm. And so I had fun with that. And that gave me a residual income. And I had it in my mind that my future, my retirement, all of that was going to be taken care of because I would never retire from my network marketing business and this kind of thing. I just had no clue. And so suddenly here I am at midlife, I'm single again, and I'm realizing, oh my God, I don't have a retirement. I don't have what do I do? And so that kind of set me on a whole other journey. In addition to trying to figure out who I am, now I had to figure out what was my future going to look like.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah. It's a lot to happen at once. And, it's not quite when you get divorced at 50, I guess it's not quite considered gray divorce, but gray divorce is certainly on the rise. There's a lot of gray divorce. It's actually more, defined as after you retire. And a lot of women are just choosing, or perhaps they're on the receiving end of it. But whether you're, single all along, or you're suddenly single through divorce or death, there's so much that you have to deal with emotionally, right? Maybe even physical stress. It comes out in that way. I was divorced just before 50, probably around 45 now. And, same thing, close enough. It's like, okay. But in my case, I was the person making the decision, and I knew probably a year before. It didn't happen just suddenly. It was something I'd been thinking about and saying, okay, I need to get my ducks in a row. I need to figure out what I'm going to do. And in my case, I had been running a lifestyle business so that I could raise my children. And I'd come from corporate America. Actually, at the time, I had a conversation with I think he was 16 or 17-year-old son. And he said, Mom, I know you love what you do, but you probably should go back to corporate America. If this is where you're going to end up, because the salary, the benefits. And so,
Right.
In my case, I was lucky enough to be able to fall back on that. But if you're not, I was talking to a woman yesterday who's divorced. Her alimony is ending. Child support will be ending in a few years. And she was a stay-at-home mom. And she's like, I'm looking at my retirement savings and I'm like, oh no, what do I do? So I think the oh no conversation should happen sooner. Like you said at the outset, like, I wish I had known of you 10 years ago. But
Right.
even 10 years ago, women didn't have access to these resources. We were just, we didn't have access to the resources. We didn't talk about it. It was just, we were busy raising our kids, working, whatever we were doing, kind of head down. And
Right.
all of a sudden you wake up and you are perhaps single and you're 50 and you're like, oh, what do I have? What do I need? What does my future look like?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And like you said, you're already dealing with all these emotions. And I was fortunate, I was very healthy, but many women are dealing with health challenges as well. And my kids, one of them had just graduated, was out of school, but he had gotten into, through the whole divorce situation, he had gotten into drugs, and so that was another issue.
Yep.
Then I had the other one that I was still trying to get through high school and get him out going, and it was so much to take in at one time, and I didn't know where to start.
Yeah. Where do you start? Yeah, we actually have, so the Her Retirement platform is designed to connect women to resources. So within Her Retirement, we focus on educating women about their financial wellness. We talk about health, wealth, and happiness, but we also are a platform to connect women to specialized services, right? So it's kind of like you go to your primary care and you get that general help, right? So we tend to be generalists in those categories, in those areas. I podcast about it. I talk about health, wealth, happiness. It's all kind of like I walk the talk because I'm 56. I'm on the journey to and through retirement. So I'm sharing my learning and experiences with women. But when you go to that primary care and you say, oh, I have some issues. I have a back issue, or I have a female issue, or whatever, they're going to send you off to a specialist. They're going to connect you. They're going to recommend. So that's kind of an analogy to what I do. And in the case of women that are know that they're going to get divorced, because sometimes you don't know, but even when you find out, sometimes if you're the receiving end of the decision, we have certified financial divorce analysts, which when I got divorced, I actually had some financial stuff that I needed to understand what impact it was going to have. And I wish I had a certified financial divorce analyst 10 years ago. And so we have these people that really, really focus on the financial aspects to help a woman, protect what she has or figure out how to get more, because the lawyer will touch upon it, but they're not experts. There might be some tax planning or some other complicated issues. And, lawyers are good for the protecting the children and, that kind of thing. But certified financial divorce analysts are great. And we connect women to those people. So something to keep in mind.
I've never even heard of them before.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think it's all, I mean, they're for men and women, right? Sometimes women, just because they've been potentially the stay-at-home person, they need to make sure that they're going to be financially protected in this process. And it's not just a legal process, it is a financial process. And so, I have a whole, if anyone was interested, I have a whole suite of information about how these people help you and, all the different things, because some people like you have never heard of them. And it's like, well, I'm more of like a specific person, like, okay, give me specifics on what's the result. Tell me exactly what they're going to help me do. So if anyone's interested, I can certainly give you that information. But yeah, it's
That's awesome. That's
it's a good
awesome.
resource. Good resource.
So before we get too far into this, why
Mm.
don't you explain a little bit more about Her Retirement and how that works? How it came to be and what you do exactly.
Yeah, so you can see my Her Retirement sign here behind me. I actually created, so I have a marketing background. Right out of college, I knew I wanted to go into marketing, and I created the URL. I just www.herretirement.com one day, reserved it, created the logo because I'm a creator, I'm an artist. And then I'm like, okay, now what do I do with it? All good marketers, right? We market before we even have a product.
Right.
But seriously, I met my significant other after my divorce in my mid to late 40s. Soon after that, I met my significant other, and lo and behold, he was a financial advisor. And I was like, where have you been all my life? Like, seriously, it was not a pickup line.
Yeah.
I meant it literally. But he and I were talking one day, and he just said, I have all these clients that my father started the business 50 years ago, and he started working with teachers, mostly women. And now I have all these clients that are getting older, and they're asking me all these retirement questions about Social Security and long-term care. And he was an investment guy. He started out in the insurance world, so he knew life insurance and annuities and growing people's assets. Like the 300,000 mostly male advisors out there have been focused on the accumulation phase of life, help people grow their assets. And that's what he did. So he said, I really, really want to focus on this because I want to help my clients. They've been with us for years. They need my help. So he basically became a retirement, we call him a geek, a retirement specialist. We decided to rebrand his firm to Your Retirement Advisor. And so what he does is he works with people on what's called the accumulation phase. He helps people take mostly mass affluent, singled or married couples, and he helps them take their savings and figure out how to make it last throughout retirement, how to create that retirement paycheck. And there's so many strategies to make that money last longer. Tax planning is probably the most important. But in this process of working with him and learning about this industry, a few years back, I was like, wait, there's so many alarming statistics about women. And I was like, I don't want to be the cobbler that has no shoes. I have 401k and I have a couple 401ks. So, he taught me about how to go and find them and put them all together. But I said, you know what? What about her retirement? Like, I want to focus on women because there's kind of two segments, right? There's the segment of women that wake up one day and go, oh my goodness, I'm 55 and I don't have what I need probably for retirement. Then there's a segment of the population that is going to inherit it's over the next 10 years. And they're going to be some of the wealthiest or the wealthiest population. They're going to inherit from their parents or their husband because women live longer, on average 5 to 6 years. And so a lot of these women, if their husband dies, like two of my friends last year, two of their husbands died, no will, no, they weren't the ones paying attention. They were what I call the non-CFO. So oftentimes in a family, the husband is the CFO. They're the non-financial officer.
Right.
They might make a lot of purchasing decisions and, influence day-to-day financial things like I do in my family, but kind of longer term investment planning, retirement planning, they haven't done. So anyway, I just said I need to focus on women. And that's what I've been doing for 3 years. I've been working on it, figuring out what women need, trying to put messaging together, all the traditional marketing stuff. At the same time, I created a software platform because I come from the high tech field. And I think that spreadsheets and pen and paper, although I'm a big writer, pen and paper person, but to do retirement planning properly, software. So my software does a lot of things. It educates people. It's an e-learning platform for financial topics. It tests your financial IQ. And then based on how you answer all these questions, it will direct you to some e-learning topics matched to your areas of knowledge gaps. And then it identifies financial gaps. So you enter a complete inventory of everything you have, and it will come back and identify some potential gaps. If it looks like you're going to run short of money, it will say, by the way, it looks like your money's going to run out. And the only thing it doesn't do is because we are not a registered investment advisory firm. We do not provide investment advice. We don't say, okay, this is how you're going to fill your gaps. As a as a main offering within the Her Retirement platform. So I would never write a financial plan and put my name on it because that's not what I'm licensed to do. What I do is I work with women through this process of getting educated about their financial knowledge and their numbers, because I do believe that when you know more, you can have more, and you have to start there. As hard as it might be to look at your knowledge gaps, look at your financial gaps, you got to look at them because you got to know where your starting point is. And I think the anxiety over not knowing is greater than the anxiety of knowing, because some people it is going to be an anxious event. But then, the platform connects you with people that can help you fill those gaps. And, I'm a gap filler, I guess.
I love it. I love it. My journey kind of serendipitously took me into the insurance world about 5 years ago. I met someone who who introduced me to someone, and I realized, I had no life insurance. I had no idea of even how that whole world worked until I got into it. And then I'm kind of one of those people, when I get introduced to something interesting like that, I dive in with, head first. Okay, I'm in this. And so I am licensed as a life insurance agent in 3 different states. And but one of the things that I realized real quick was, as I was going through my own financial analysis and what I needed to have and what I didn't have and where I stood with everything, I realized how much I did not know. Because, in my era, and I'm 60 now, but my parents never talked about money. It was not something that was ever discussed in our house. Right. And so then when I got out on my own, I'm having to just figure it out. And I did to a point, but I realized when I started really getting into this insurance world and wealth building and just protection, financial protection, asset protection, is when I realized just how much I did not know.
Yep. Yeah. It's amazing. You don't know what you don't know. Right. Yeah. So part of the process that we go through, we call it our know more, have more process, is to find out what you don't know. Like, so many people, they don't know that Social Security benefits might be taxed. They think there's no taxes in retirement, or, they don't know that, there's ways to roll over your 401k without incurring penalties or taxes, or a lot of women don't know that they can use their housing wealth. If they're at the point, like, I've taken a look at what I've got. I don't have a lot. I'm just going to put my head down and maybe one of my kids will take care of me. Our message and what our platform is designed to do is to tell you, okay, maybe you have some gaps, but guess what? There's some things you might not know. There's some strategies that you might not have ever heard of, like the certified financial divorce analyst, right? There's some resources that we are going to help you understand that they're there and how they can help you. So one example is, geez, I have a gap. I'm depressed. I don't know what I'm going to do. Like, I don't know. My kids are my retirement plan. Well, guess what? You might have a house that's worth $400,000. Maybe you got it through the divorce. When you turn 62, you can use your housing wealth to create an income in retirement. So through a home equity conversion mortgage, reverse mortgage, HECM is the one that's funded by the federal government or backed by the federal government. But you can use your housing wealth, which is a debt asset, no longer have a mortgage, and instead of paying that mortgage, have an income stream in retirement. So housing wealth is a great opportunity for some women, not all women. The answer always depends, and you have to understand this. And I think oftentimes women, they haven't been exposed to the stock market and investing, and it's intimidating or scary, or, oh gosh, it's risky. And, so understanding how investments play a part in your overall strategy. And also another example is a lot of women just sock everything into a tax deferred account, into their 401ks. Well, you know what? That might not be the best strategy based on the fact that tax rates are so low. And with all of our trillions and trillions of dollars in deficit, where are tax rates going to go in retirement? So to be tax efficient, you should probably look at other things that you can do to save for retirement that are more tax efficient for you. You know, and speaking of life insurance, like an index universal life policy is a great tax-free vehicle. You need to look at things that aren't going to increase your income in retirement, because if you get too high of an income in retirement, right, they're called RMDs. Those are the forced distributions for your 401ks. You take that and your Social Security, and maybe you're working part-time, and pretty soon your tax bracket is pretty high. And so there's some strategies to keep your tax bracket as low as possible. But, you know, I didn't know this. I mean, I'm pretty smart. I've got a master's degree. I've started businesses. I've had lots of money. I've had no money. I didn't know this stuff. The average person doesn't know this retirement stuff. It's overwhelming just to know how to accumulate your money, but then how do you live a very long potential retirement with what you have? And those are just some very, very, very big strategies and big decisions. So I always say we like to help women make more informed decisions and also prepare them to have more informed conversations. Because unfortunately, in every aspect of life, there's the I don't want to call them scammers. That's a little too strong, although elder scams are pretty serious. It's a serious issue. But there's people that just want to sell someone a product, and it happens in the financial services industry. So I always say, you know what? You'll never be sold anything. If you get educated, you'll make buying decisions. And that's what we want women to do, is make those buying decisions and not be sold a bill of goods that they don't understand, or they probably may not even need.
Right. No, education is empowerment. Absolutely. I think it's also important that that everyone knows that every state is different. Every state has their own laws regarding taxes, regarding, income, retirement, all of that. So it's important to know that too. What works in one state could be very, very different in another state.
We you froze up. I'm not sure if it's me or if it's you, but to respond to that comment, I will say that in the state of Florida, for example, you know, a state, it's great if you can, let's say you live in Massachusetts, and if you can establish residency in California, in Florida, I think it's like at least 6 months out of the year you have to live there, so that what you pass on, you're paying the Florida state taxes versus Massachusetts. You know, there's always this whole like list of what are the best states for retirement. Looking at those laws and costs and tax rates and what things are taxed is part of the strategy. So if you're open to moving, one good way to think about your retirement is, okay, let me think about what is the most affordable and, place that gives you a good quality of life, right? You need to kind of balance those. But a lot of those surveys look at quality of life, cost of living, cost of nursing home care. Massachusetts, way up there.
Yeah.
But I have an 87-year-old mom and an 85-year-old dad. My significant other, Brian, has a 92-year-old dad and an 87-year-old mom. And my parents are like, we're not going to nursing homes. I'm like, okay, well, and my dad's like, I'm just going to drop dead. I'm like, well, I hope that plan works out for you.
Yeah. Well, you're blessed to still have them with you. I lost my mother just about a year and a half ago.
Oh,
and but I had the opportunity and and the ability to care for her the last 5 years of her life. And so I feel very grateful for that, because she did not want to go into a nursing home, and I didn't want to put her in one, but
Yeah.
sometimes we just don't have that choice.
Yeah. I mean, I
Um,
think that's another one of the top issues. I mean, we all, I think 61% of retirees fear outliving their income more than they fear death. But women are worried who's going to take care of me if, what is my end of life, or what we call the no-go years. Like, I don't have family perhaps, or close friends, or I have an aunt who just went into the nursing home at 75. I want to say she is. She has no family to speak of other than us. She's actually not married to my uncle, so she's like a life partner, but she has like a healthcare proxy and someone else. But it's so sad because she just really had us, which were kind of like an adopted family, or my cousin. And so many women are worried about that. And so you need to come up with a plan and make sure the plan's communicated. She actually had a long-term care policy. She was a teacher. So she financially and a plan, it was in place. So I think that's an example, but it's also sad when you see those people that don't have family, or someone, children or whatever. So that requires a lot more planning, but it's also a big worry for a lot of people, a lot of women.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, in my case, I have two boys, two sons.
Oh boy, you're in trouble.
And so I thought, because I know what I had to do for my mother, and I thought, I don't know that I want my boys doing that necessarily for me,
Yeah.
and I don't even know if they would. I mean, to
Yeah.
be honest,
I have three older brothers, and I'm the one that lives geographically closest to my mom. My mom's actually battling ovarian cancer right now. She has been for 3 years, and we go to Dana-Farber every month. And my brothers have offered to help, but I want to be there. Like, she's my best friend,
Yeah, yeah.
Ooh, but I had a son, and then 10 years later, or 9 years, I had twin girls, and I was like, oh my goodness, thank goodness, because they will take care of me. But
Yeah,
you know what? They could prove you wrong. But I mean,
right.
we are kind of being a little like, yeah, girls, boys, daughters, and
Mhm.
sons. My ex-husband actually just took his mom. They're from another country, and she just came from her home country, and he's going to take care of her. He's an
Mhm.
only son, so he's taking care of her. But that's always been his role. When there's a few kids, that's where
Mhm.
it's like, who's going to get mom,
Right, right. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh.
So you have a gift for our audience today.
I do. I do. Besides what I've already shared, I hope that is a gift. My presence is hopefully a gift on this summit. But no, seriously. Actually, speaking of my mom's actually up there, and those are my three kids in the background.
Oh,
Um,
awesome.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, so sorry, a little distracted by my family. It's they're my motivation. In fact, my mom a long time ago said that you can be the hero of your own story. When you don't She got divorced when I was 8, and I had the opposite experience as you. I was there at the kitchen table when I was 8, looking over her shoulder as she tried to figure out how she was going to pay the bills. And she was a school teacher, so she had a very stable job, but she said, whatever you do, get your education, get your job, be able to take care of yourself, and don't be a bag lady. And so that was like drilled into my head. But my slogan, be the her and hero, comes from my mom just constantly telling me,
Mm.
you can do it, you can do it. So speaking of heroes, my retirement readiness kit is my free gift to everybody on listening in. And you can go to the URL that we'll provide. And in the kit, it basically takes you through 5 steps, is a pre exercise to putting your retirement plan together. because I'm a huge planner. Nothing happens without a plan, and then nothing happens without taking action. So this helps you get some education, helps you identify your financial inventory, identify some gaps. You'll have access to the software to go through these 5 steps in the retirement readiness kit, or you can download this PDFs. So if you want to do the old fashioned, like writing things out, you can do that too. So I wanted to make it both low tech and high tech. So you can do either. You'll have a trial subscription to the software to go through these exercises. And then anyone that does go through these exercises, access software. I have another gift that I send. I love sending gifts. I'm a giver. But anyway, yeah, so you're going to have access to that retirement readiness kit. And I'm adding something new. I just created a retirement readiness quiz. It's actually available on my website at herretirement.com. And you just basically take the quiz, and it tests your readiness in wealth, health, and happiness. And what it does is it then sends you an email with an assessment of your readiness. And it basically highlights for you where your gaps are in your readiness so that you can focus on those things. And it's also a learning opportunity, right? You don't know what you don't know. And it's going to highlight some things like, oh, I didn't think about being ready in that category, and from the health perspective, some basic things. But again, it's having money is one thing, but if you have money and you don't have health, or you don't have purpose, it doesn't mean anything, right?
Absolutely.
I've had money, but I had a divorce. So it was like, well, you gotta have them all kind of playing together. And so that's why my platform focuses on health, wealth, and happiness.
I love it. I love it.
Thank you,
And
Kelli.
we will have a link below to be sure and get that. Take advantage of this, because you don't know what you don't know. And knowledge is power. Knowledge is so empowering, and it helps to build that confidence. It helps with everything. You just don't know what you don't know. So thank you so much. This has been so valuable to me, I know, and I'm sure to many, many other women out there. So thank you so much, Lynn, for sharing everything and for your gift with us today. And again, I will have all the links below, and be sure and take advantage of it.
Yeah. And my final word is, my favorite expression is get her done. So go out and get her done, ladies.
Get her done. Absolutely.
All right. Thanks, Kelli.
Thanks, Lynn.